Thrift stores are often filled with unexpected treasures, and I'm sure many of the viewers watching enjoy a trip to the thrift store every now and then, or charity shops as we call them here in the UK. But every now and then, some disturbing things have been picked up from these stores. So from clothing believed to be from the victims of a serial killer, to a photograph of a murder scene, here are 5 disturbing things that have been found in thrift stores. As always, hit those lights, sit back, and enjoy. Human bones left outside Goodwill store. Now this is a strange one, and comes with an eerie 911 call. It all began on June 22nd, 2024, when a pile of bones was found by an unnamed woman walking near the Gradelin subdivision in South Carolina. The bones were strewn in the woods behind a construction site, and the lady gathered them up and transported them to a nearby Goodwill store at Clemson Boulevard. When she reached the shop, she placed the bones in a donation box and left them outside the closed store. Then at 10:24 p.m, the Anderson County Sheriff's Office received a 911 call from the woman. During the call, she reported that she had a box containing bones and what appeared to be human teeth, and in a troubling revelation, she mentioned that she knew the location of additional skeletal remains. Take a listen to the call.
Anderson County 911, what's the location for your emergency?
Yes, ma'am. There's a box sitting over there beside the Goodwill. It's got suspicious bones in it, and they got like 2 human teeth in it, and I know where there's more bones at, but it looks like yeah.
Okay, and where are you at?
Goodwill.
You're where?
Goodwill.
Which Goodwill?
The one up on Clemson Boulevard.
Officials said that she disconnected the call before they could ask more questions. Then in a second 911 call at 10:28 p.m, a man said that he found a box of what looked like leg bones, femur bones, and part of a skull at the Goodwill and took it to a BP gas station. Take a listen to his call.
What else got in it? So you said leg bones?
It's got 1, 2, it looks like two lower leg bones, one some other kind, I don't know, one part of a smaller bone and some skull pieces.
After officials arrived, they conducted a search in a nearby construction area using sniffer dogs and uncovered multiple other human bones. They later confirmed that most of the bones found in the Goodwill box were human, mixed with some animal bones, and they stated that they were collaborating with the state to investigate potential connections to local missing person cases. They also disclosed that the body had been in the location for at least 2 years, suggesting that the death occurred around mid-2020 or earlier. Now what's interesting is that to date, there has not been an update on the identity of the bones, as they will require extensive investigation, including DNA analysis and assistance from an anthropologist. The case has gone quiet and has caused a stir online, particularly as to why someone would leave suspected human bones outside of a thrift store, instead of leaving them in place and calling the police, since it was a potential crime scene. There was also speculation about why the woman hung up the phone, and then seemingly disappeared without giving further details. If that wasn't odd enough, there is also some confusion about who actually found the bones, as some news outlets stated that it was a man. Now there could be more to this case, as it appears there are lots of unanswered questions. We'll keep an eye on it. A horrific photo. This next story is disturbing, and we advise caution when viewing the accompanying image, which we will blur anyway, but don't go searching for it. The story was posted on Reddit in 2024 by the user Superheatron2. He recounted his visit to a local thrift store where he came across an old Kodiak carousel box. Thinking the carousel was interesting, he decided to open it to assess its condition. It was at that moment he discovered a photograph slotted in one of the compartments. Initially he thought it was just a family photo left behind by the previous owner, but upon closer inspection, he realized this was not a family photo. The comments section erupted with many urging the poster to contact the police. In an update, they explained that they were in shock and took the photograph outside and called the non-emergency police line to report what they had found, believing it to be genuine. The dispatcher advised them to wait at the thrift store while an officer was sent to investigate. The officer arrived and examined the photo, asking questions about where it had been found. They walked into the thrift store to see the exact location of the discovery and questioned the staff. Now, some commenters speculated that the image might be a scene from a movie, while others believe it depicted a murder victim. It was difficult to determine the gender of the individual in the photo due to the excessive amount of blood, but it was widely believed to be female. Some people believed it was merely an art project or something similar, while others thought it appeared too theatrical. There was also debate regarding the film used, with some believing it was a still frame from a 35mm horror movie. Some urged the person who discovered the image to seek help for the trauma of what was portrayed. Now, the body in the photograph, if real, appears to be fresh, and is likely in the early stages of rigor mortis, indicated by the slight tension in the right leg, which of course we will not show. It seems that the corpse has something covering its head, and their arms are bound behind their back. The situation suggests a violent encounter, possibly involving a knife, which could point to the actions of a home intruder. The intruder may have entered the home, tied up the person in the photo, assaulted them, which led to their murder after a struggle. Additionally, some commenters noted that serial killers often photograph their victims, and while this isn't a Polaroid, slide film is relatively easy to develop at home. As of now, there are no updates regarding this image. Now, this could be a sick joke, or this could be real. What do you think? Suspicious halter tops. In 1995, Veronica Zarinsky passed away, leaving all of her belongings to her beloved son Robert. However, at the time of her death, Robert was serving a 98-year sentence for the murder of a 17-year-old girl in 1969. In his absence, a local thrift shop in Linden, New Jersey, called Just About Everything, was tasked with clearing out Miss Zaransky's home and boxing up her belongings to sell in the store. Dean Messina, the owner of the shop, recalled an unusual discovery that he and his wife made while clearing out the closet. He said, "While sorting through the old lady's clothes, my wife found 3 halter tops that appeared to belong to young girls. I thought to myself, isn't that strange? They don't seem to fit in with the rest of her things." Well, it turns out that Robert Zarinsky was convicted of 1 murder, but police suspected that he was responsible for several others, and believed that he was involved in the deaths of 3 teenagers, Linda Balabano, Doreen Calusi, and Joanne Dallado, all of whom were killed between 1969 and 1974. It would be a few years before investigators realized the truth about the clothing. Judith Sapsa, Robert's sister, was left nothing in their mother's will, and was understandably bitter that her murderer brother inherited everything. So she sought revenge by looting tens of thousands of dollars from his trust fund while he was incarcerated. Eventually she was charged with the theft, and during police interviews, she told an extraordinary story about her mother's obsession with Robert. In a 2-hour interview with Middlesex County prosecutors, Judith told of how in 1958, Robert, then 17, and his cousin, Theodore Schaefer, got into a shootout with police officer Charles Bernowski during a car dealership burglary and killed him. After the incident, they fled to her mother's home on Bower Street in Linden. There, Veronica laid the boys on the kitchen table and used tongue depressors and tweezers to remove bullets from their bloody wounds. Mrs. Zarinsky then ordered her sister, Irene Schaefer, to drive the boys to Pennsylvania and hide them. Julia also revealed that she believed her brother killed as many as 10 young girls, and that her mother knew of the murders, but was so obsessed with him that she turned a blind eye. She went on to describe in chilling detail the disturbing home life that shaped a madman. As a boy, Zarinsky would violently beat his sister, and his mother approved of his actions. He tortured small animals and decapitated birds. As an adult, he took control of the family's wholesale produce business, giving his abused father a meager allowance of $5 a week and beating him when he complained. Throughout this, their mother showered Robert with an undue, unnatural protection, and there was no doubt that she knew everything that was going on. Equipped with this new information, police spent 3 days tearing through walls and ripping up floorboards in the Zarinsky's former home, and reportedly found a silver earring that had since been identified as belonging to Anne Logan, a 19-year-old student at Seton Hall University who was assaulted and strangled in 1973. Police also visited the Just About Everything thrift store and sifted through the numerous musty boxes of items taken from Mrs. Zarinsky's home when it was cleared after her death. They subsequently believed the halter tops belonged to some of Robert Zarinsky's victims, taken as some sort of trophy and hidden in his mother's closet. In light of the new information, in 2001, Robert Zarinsky was tried for the 1958 murder of railway police officer Charles Bernowski. Zarinsky's sister testified against him, although he was acquitted. On March 11, 2008, Zarinsky was indicted for the 1968 murder of 13-year-old Jane Dura, based on DNA evidence. She went missing on November 4, 1968, and her body was found the next day. However, Zarinsky died on November 28, 2008, at Southwood State Prison from pulmonary fibrosis before he could stand trial for her murder. On February 17, 2016, DNA evidence linked Zarinsky to the 1965 murder of Mary Agnes Klinsky, who was found dead in Holmdel. It is very likely that Robert killed several young girls as well as the police officer, and although relatively unknown, was one of the worst serial killers of the 20th century. ACDC Hat. In March 1985, Richard Ramirez, later dubbed the Night Stalker, made what appeared to be an unremarkable purchase at a Goodwill thrift store in Los Angeles. A dark-coloured baseball cap adorned with the iconic ACDC logo. This item would soon transform into a pivotal piece of evidence in the investigation of a series of gruesome crimes that left Southern California in a state of terror. After acquiring the cap, Ramirez inadvertently left it behind at one of his crime scenes, establishing an undeniable link to his horrific acts. This grim event in particular took place in the garage of a residential home in Rosemead, California, where Ramirez brutally murdered Dale Okazaki, a 34-year-old woman, and shot her roommate, Maria Hernandez, during a chilling nighttime assault. This attack was not just violent, but characterized by the calculated savagery that became hallmarks of Ramirez's methods. The baseball cap, with its distinct logo, alongside a unique shoe print linked to a brand known for its unique tread patterns, became instrumental in the investigation. These crucial pieces of evidence allowed law enforcement to connect the dots between multiple murders and develop a sophisticated psychological profile of the elusive suspect they were pursuing. A significant breakthrough in the investigation occurred when a witness came forward with crucial testimony. She reported seeing Ramirez purchase a similar cap at the Goodwill store shortly before the violent events took place. This testimony strengthened the connection between the cap and the series of crimes, transforming it from merely an accessory picked up at a thrift store to an item that played a vital role in linking Ramirez to the murders. This evidence ultimately led to his identification and arrest, bringing an end to the reign of fear that had gripped the community. In 1989, Ramirez was convicted of 13 counts of murder, 5 attempted murders, 11 sexual assaults and 14 burglaries. The judge who upheld his 19 death sentences remarked that his actions displayed cruelty, callousness, and viciousness beyond any human understanding. Ramirez never expressed remorse for his crimes and died in June 2013 from complications relating to B-cell lymphoma while awaiting execution at San Quentin State Prison. Now, we've done an in-depth documentary on Richard Ramirez, which you can check out for free by joining our Patreon. A cursed painting. Now we'll finish up on a case that is a bit more light-hearted than the previous ones, although the owner of this painting is convinced it was cursed. In 2003, an innocent-looking painting of a young girl in a red dress captured significant attention on the internet and in tabloids across the UK. The painting, whose origin, subject and artist remain unknown, was donated to the Hastings Advice Representation Centre thrift store in the small town of St Leonards-on-Sea, located in Hastings, East Sussex. The shop's manager reported that the portrait was donated along with several other pictures and frames and sold quickly. However, just 2 days later, the buyer returned the painting, claiming that it had a creepy aura. The manager then displayed the portrait in the shop window, priced at £20, and added a note that read possibly cursed. The scary portrait received widespread attention after a photo of the shop window went viral. Not long after, a second customer, Zoe Elliott Brown, purchased it, and soon returned it in a shaky and distressed state, stating that she never wanted to see the damned thing again, claiming that she had been chased by an unidentified black figure. After the painting gained widespread attention, Zoe reconsidered, thinking there might be monetary value in the so-called haunted painting. She called the shop to ask if she could repurchase it, having decided that she was no longer scared and felt that she could tolerate it. The shop manager allowed her to have it back for free. Zoe then made a TV appearance showcasing the painting and her claim of being pursued by an unidentified black figure. A few days after the TV appearance, she listed the painting for sale on eBay, and shortly after being listed, the painting received an offer of £450. This amount quickly tripled, with the final bid reaching £1,680, with 50% of the sale going back to the charity shop. The London Bridge Experience, an immersive horror attraction, bought the painting, and it is now part of their horror collection. Now, it's unknown whether any unsettling or eerie experiences have occurred with the painting since its relocation, although it seems that the chilling environment of the horror attraction has provided the perfect setting for a supposedly haunted painting. I'm not sure about this one, but what do you think?